Welcome back. As the art world shifts into 2025, an exciting year that promises to shape the future of global creative expression. Trends are emerging that really highlight the intersection of innovation, of sustainability and technology. The rise of digital art, alongside an increased focus on diverse narratives and environmental responsibility, signals a crucial new wave of artistic exploration. So this year, artists were invited to create works within the framework of the curator, Dr. Mariella Franzoni's Experience Attempt Experiment. Well, this has resulted in an impressive array of textile work, photography and paintings alike. And so joining us for this interview are the art fair curators, Alexander Richards and Dr. Phokeng Setai. Good morning to the both of you, and thank you for making time to chat with us this morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
All right, so as the art world shifts into 2025, perhaps you could speak to some of the trends that are emerging that really just highlight that intersection and how it's been expressed. Who wants to start?
I guess I'll start.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you again for having us here. For one, I would like to begin with our project, Exhibition Match. Our intention and aim is to create pathways to art through the vehicle of football. So football being such a well-supported sport on the African continent, and art being something that is available to everyone, but like in terms of accessing the world of art being difficult for large swathes of the South African population, bringing the two elements together has created this, has broadened the pool, has broadened access to the art. So for one, I'd like to speak about that, but also the intersection between technology and art through the vehicle of AI, for instance, is another way in which we're seeing artistic expression taking other forms and like opening up and creating more ways of access into the arts.
No, absolutely. Alexander, do you want to weigh in on that? Just given the rise of digital art, we know that there are, divisions within access, equity, inclusivity. But how do you think that art world is going to be changing in terms of creative expression, accessibility at large?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think mainly people have cell phones a lot. The mobile the generation has moved forward, which is exciting. I think there's more access in relation to Wi-Fi, other technology. So I would imagine it gives more people tools. The more you just need a cell phone, you need data, that kind of idea. I also think video art, which as a technology is really interesting because you don't need to ship it around the world. You just send drives, transfers, that kind of thing. I think sometimes that's a trend where, you spoke about environmental pressures. I think shipping artwork in huge crates across the world is pretty bad for the environment. So I think transfers and digital stuff is better.
All right, thank you for those opening remarks as well. And so just given the increased focus on the diverse narratives that are out there, Dr. Setai, what role do you think art fairs like Invest Cape Town Art Fair really play in promoting underrepresented voices?
I think having an art fair in the context of the African continent, for one, is an amazing thing to do, because African art and African contemporary art has really been at the vanguard of like contemporary artistic expression, because African contemporary artists are not limited to classical or modernist ways of expressing themselves. There's the use of found objects, there's the use of other unorthodox material that our artists use and express themselves through. So they've opened up what artistic expression can be. And so having an art fair on the African continent of the scale of the Invest Cape Town Art Fair really provides an opportunity for African artists to show these ways of these vocabularies that they have introduced into the space. So the Invest Cape Town Art Fair really is a space for our publics here on the African continent to see how imaginative our artists are, and like the space that these contexts such as the art fair provide is for the artists to really be seen, and for the ingenuity that is coming from the continent to be really put in relation to the world stage or the global stage.
Oh, absolutely. Alexander, just to weigh in on further of what Dr. Setai has echoed, there's exploring Africa's cultural capital, but also just looking at economic stimulation, fulfilling that quest, given, how it needs to contribute to job creation, for the youth to participate and also just share, their point of view as well and create better access for all. How do you think all these elements are working together this time round?
Yeah, I think the art industry as a whole in South Africa is really huge. I think we don't, the global South African feel about art is maybe not as excited as what the art world actually is in South Africa. We have a lot of incredible artists who are exhibiting abroad and overseas and are doing incredibly well, both kind of institutionally but also commercially. So I think we're talking about an art fair, and the most important thing in art fair is to show people work and to hopefully sell them. So I think all the jobs created through the artist studios, artists don't only work alone. Sometimes they work with 10, 20 people. Artist studios, curators like myself and Phokeng, and kind of the broader spectrum, just on all levels, people who put the artwork on the wall, people who put the artwork in a crate. There's jobs throughout that whole process. And I think these kind of ventures like the Cape Town Art Fair are like incredibly important in producing more of that and showing people that there are careers in the arts. I think is very important.
Absolutely. And, there's a value chain, which you've both alluded to. And I wonder how we can assert a more or better consensus, a more consensual approach in terms of what we value and how we measure what is successful and what isn't successful, given, Africa's contribution to the world of art.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that we have to just think that we are the most valuable in a way. I think that would be a starting point. Africa, South Africa, I think we have influenced so many different things in the art world and in art history. And I think it really is our time now.
And I mean, in as much as consensus is something that is important to think about as like bringing peace and like tranquility within like public relations or social relations, I think it's also good to live with dissensus, because in the difference, that's when we can see that's when progress is able to come about. So in as much as consensus is important, but dissensus as well is something that is key. And in the art world, you see these multiple perspectives and opinions, and that is why the art world, the contemporary art, is always at the center, but also at the forefront of like pushing society forward. So, and that's because of the multiple perspectives and opinions that the art world allows to the creative expressions of the artists to participate within it.
Okay, word of the day, decensus. Thank you to the both of you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your work. Good luck on the exhibition, of course. We'll leave that conversation there. Thank you for also just being part of mirroring, society back to us and also letting us know where we're headed to as a society through some of the conversations evoked through your work. So we'll leave it there. Art Fair curators Alexander Richards and Dr. Phokeng Setai joining us ahead of the Investec Art Fair that is happening in Cape Town.